Hey, what is going on, everybody? Invisible Boilon here because I didn't expect to do a video today, so I wasn't able to get my setup properly, up and going. We're here to talk about some changes and updates to the Gambit raid. We do have Gambit in the back here, so that's fortunate for us. There's quite a bit of changes, and going into week 2, which is going to be starting tomorrow at store reset time, Wednesday at store reset time, and it's now changing from a solo alliance milestone, from a solo milestone to an alliance-wide milestone. I want to talk about exactly what this is going to mean for you and your alliance, and what you should do and not do. There's quite a bit of information here to go over. So if we're ready to go, then let's go boil this down. Okay, and we're gonna start here, and this is the blog post, or it was also on Reddit, about the Gambit raid changes, Gambit raid improvements. So the dev team has been closely monitoring progression of the Gambit raids and listening to players' feedback. We have some exciting improvements upon the week 1 version of Ace of Raids that will help alliances better progress as a collective. As you guys know, that currently, like right now, we have been struggling to... It's been about independent progress in some ways. It's been about how many nodes that you as an individual has been able to clear to collect more, the cards for the alliance point, for the milestone points, sorry. And so now we're shifting away from that to a more of a alliance-based approach, where it's not based on how many nodes you as an individual clear, but based on how many you as an alliance collective clears. So it should be a net positive thing, I would think, but, let's read on anyway. So, first, the Week 2 iteration of Ace of Raids will now be an Alliance scoring event, so now that solo milestone is changing to an Alliance-based milestone. With this change, we will be adjusting the mile point threshold, so that skill in the Gambit raid will grant improved event completion rewards. So I don't know if this means that they're actually changing the completion rewards as far as the rank payouts go. That I'm not too sure about, because it doesn't entirely suggest that, whether or not the 30, the 60, and the 100 is going to change. I don't know 100% if that's the case, depending on how you read this, or if it's just because, now it's an alliance-based milestone, any of the individual node cards are now going to be alliance-wide because it's going to be an alliance milestone. Maybe that's what they mean. So I'm not really too sure about this here. We'll have to wait until we see when it goes live and whether or not it's different than what I'm hoping it's going to be. So as a result, alliances should feel less pressure to micromanage individual nodes. So that's what it sounds like. That it's more about, all of the cards that you're collecting over the course of the entire raid, not the individual nodes. Second, we will be extending the Gambit raid event by 1 more day. So now this is not a 7-day week 2, it's an 8-day week 2. And we also need to talk about how tonight or tomorrow's Gambit raid is going to roll over into week 2. So we have an additional raid, day 7 of this week 1 is going to roll over into week 2. So we actually potentially have 8 or maybe even 9 raid rewards to claim, and we're going to talk about that when we get into the math, because it's going to change about where the total points are going to be for that. So they also, and then they say they didn't say that they're actually going to be making the Dazzler's bracelet easier necessarily, but a lot of suggestions are that maybe it might be moved down. So currently the milestone is 10,000 points, right? So if we multiplied that by 24, if it turns out that the milestone is 240,000, then they haven't really changed much, unless where you get the position for Dazzler's bracelet has been moved down comparably to the existing milestone. Third, with the start of week 2 of Gambit raids, 2 characters will be added to each tray. So I looked at this before. I have seen this beforehand. So for clubs, you get Longshot and Beast. And I want to say that at least for Longshot, for those who have Dad Bros, this is actually a significant improvement, because Longshot's special and Shatterstar's abilities, just really complement each other. And there's a lot of enemies. So Longshot specials with the bleeds is not only going to crit a lot of players, so you're going to get that turn bar and barrier mechanic, which is really good. You're going to be cleaning them up pretty quickly. Now, if you don't have Longshot built up, this might be a bit of a challenge. As far as Beast inclusion, I'm not really that sure if it's going to help that much. I mean, he is support and sustain, so it's better than the lack of nothing that we have right now. But in terms of like his compatibility with the other characters, it's not. It's probably only good if you have like unlimited X-Men. aside from that, he doesn't really synergize with anyone else on this set of teams. So if I'm going to use anyone else, it's probably going to be Longshot. Now, I may remove Thor, actually, because Thor's kind of slow. So I'm thinking of then adding in, doing Silver Surfer, Yondu, T'Challa, because Yondu and T'Challa have been the MVP through this last whole week. I'm going to tell you that right there. Especially if you haven't wailed out on Gambit. Then Silver Surfer, Star-Lord, T'Challa, Yondu, Shatterstar, and Longshot are going to be my 5 characters, I think. And then if for whatever reason, if somebody dies, I'll bring Thor in or whatever, right? For Diamonds, we have Madeline, Pryor, and Storm. I don't run Diamonds, so I can't really say if this is going to change much. I don't think it will be. Maybe Storm does. Is that with Magic? Because maybe then Storm will help a little bit. But otherwise, I'm not really sure. Let me know if you're a Diamonds runner down below. I don't run Diamonds, so I don't know if this is going to help. For Hearts, you have Jessica Jones and Stature. Absolutely, Stature's not going to do anything. But Jessica Jones actually has a pretty decent rework. She does give some barrier, and she clears negative status effects. So she is actually a decent character, and that's probably a decent inclusion there. But obviously, Clubs did get a bit of a boost there. And Spades, what the fuck were they thinking? I was gonna not swear, but really, realistically, Thing and She-Hulk are so useless. Like, why would they even include them? Maybe there's synergy there, I don't know. But individually, these characters suck ass, so I don't know why they would ever include them. Finally, we are sending out some extra kinetic health packs, blah, 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 to make things easier if you want to, push a little bit harder, that kind of stuff for week 1. I don't know, I don't think I've had this mail yet, have I? Did I get anything? I don't think so. Nope. Okay, so let's go back anyways. We're thrilled to see so many alliances coordinating and executing precision strategies because we were forced to do this because it was so bad as far as the points went for this. Continue to monitor the feature's performance and review player feedback. So, again, what I'm wondering is how is that going to impact the Dazzler's bracelet milestone right now as it exists? In the milestone, well, it's not there right now because it's going to be in week 2, but it would have been 8330. Now, if you guys remember, 8330 is that sort of magic number. This one here. And this is really important, actually, to claim right now. I know that I'm probably not going to get there, but that's 1,180 disco balls, which is not 10,000, but it's still a lot and is equally important. Now, what I want to say is the only way we'll know is if the Dazzler bracelet became easier is whether or not on an alliance-wide scale, if this bracelet is, say, less than 8330 times 24. Now, 24 represents a full alliance, so I don't know if they're just going to take the 10,000, multiply by 24, and now the top-end milestone will be 240,000 instead. And if that's the case, they didn't really change anything. They just kind of multiplied it by 24. But we'll have to see at store reset tomorrow. I think I'll be doing an update video to this, but I have preliminarily, I don't even know if that's a word, but I've done some math to kind of take a look at how things are going to look. Before we do that, though, I want to kind of point out this post here on Reddit. So it talks about the changes and how, Dorky Dad did a really good job actually at illuminating a lot of this stuff. He had a really good Reddit post today. I don't know if anyone got a chance to see that. And then apparently they did a collab video about this. I don't know when this was because I haven't been paying attention. And then obviously maybe that was yesterday. And then there were some Gambit raid changes, obviously, today. And so Cerebro says, we greatly value player feedback, including content creators who do a great job at amplifying community concerns to us directly. The dev team, envoys is what they really mean. The dev team has been discussing that feedback at length since the Gambit raid started last week. A multi-pronged approach to addressing feedback regarding new events and features take time, usually longer than 24 hours. We'll continue to listen and consider potential tweaks. That being said, I think they won't be able to really do that as soon as this goes live tomorrow, so whatever we have now or whatever we have tomorrow is probably going to be it for the rest of the week. And finally, well, not finally, until we get to the math, I want to point to this. So, a lot of people were concerned about whether or not you should be continuing to hoard your mail. Continuing to hoard your raid inbox stuff. And Tana asked this, and Archangel said, as far as I know, the Gambit cards will carry over into week 2, since it's the same currency, but keep in mind, the bracelet should be easy for most people in a decent alliance. So my recommendation is for people that have the cards in their box right now, should collect them for this event, unless their alliance sucks. So Archangel says that you should claim this now, and if for whatever reason you don't get the Glimmer bracelet in week 2, then your alliance sucks. So what does suck mean? And what does that define as? I'm not sure. So my alliance is a top 2 to 3% alliance in the game. Apparently. Because that's my raid season payouts. So that suggests to me that if I claim now and I cannot get the Glimmer bracelet, my alliance sucks. And that also means that anyone behind me sucks as well. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to claim it. Because Archangel says that I should be able to do it. And I am putting some trust in him. to do this, and if it doesn't, I'll be doing an updated video about why this was a bad idea. But I hope that this is a good idea, and I hope he's not leading us astray as the new community manager. So I'm going to take his word for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to claim, I have, to be honest, I actually claimed 3 of them, or 3 or so of them already. So I'm going to claim this one. This was from a couple of days ago, and I'm going to claim this one from today or yesterday, I forget. So we're going to claim these 2 inboxes, and the rest are just Webstone energy stuff. And I'm going to claim the other one, hopefully if mine gets in before week 2. And I'm going to see if I can get to the 8330. I'm actually pretty close now. So I'm pretty close. I'm almost close. Maybe after one more raid, I might be able to get 8330. So I'm going to try and get this. And hopefully when we start fresh on week 2, that, because my alliance, I don't think they suck. So I'm hoping that this means that I'll be able to get the Glimmer Bracelet. And if it doesn't, then I'll be really angry, and I will be sure to make another video update on that. So if you're in the position that you think you're in a pretty good alliance, if you're running difficulty 5 or you're running difficulty 6 or higher, then you probably should be claiming it like I did, and hope that, CM Archangel isn't leading us astray on this point. So that's what I'm going to say. Then I do recommend people to claim their rewards and just pull them, because realistically, as an event, you shouldn't be having to hold on to your rewards like this. Like, it's a bit of a loophole, to be honest, and you should not be encouraged to have to do this. It's honestly kind of trash. So that's why I did it. I really hope that, that we can do this on week 2, and that what they say, that it's being made easier, that in fact it actually is. So we'll have to find out about that. Now, I want to end the video though with my new updated math sheet. Now, the only thing is that we don't know what the new milestone is going to look like. We weren't given the math, so we don't know as far as the point requirements. Like, I can assume that maybe they're going to take the 10,000 and multiply it by 24, and that's what it's going to look like. But at the end of the day, we don't know. So I've changed my table. I've also added a few new things. So we have the 30%, the 60%, and the 100%. And so what I've added, for anyone who's seen my first one, and this is my first chart, by the way. So it was a lot smaller. I also had blue shades for the scenarios in which you could clear the Glimmer Bracelet in week 2. But obviously this has changed, so we don't know exactly where we need to be. I also have points for 8 days and points for 9 days. And the reason why I have this, even though it's not a 9-day milestone, if you're claiming your 7th day week 1 raid in week 2, because that's when it finished, then you're actually going to have 9 rewards and not 8. So I just want to kind of put that out there and how it impacts the points. So now I have a few new additional lines. I have cards for the alliance for 24 people. This is just the payout multiplied by 24. And then I have the nodes changed to basically reflect what 30%, 60%, and 100% is per nodes on the raid. There's 60 nodes on the raid. So 30% is 18, 60% is 36, and 100% is 60. So we can take the 25 cards per node, multiply that by 18, and we get this figure here. And that changes as we go along the different difficulties. And then you add up the total daily points, or sorry, the nodes points here, plus the cards 24 people points, these 2 rows here, and then you get the total daily points. So then I multiply that by 8 and 9 for each of the sections, and these are the points that you get. Now, again, where you need to score, I'm not sure, right? And if we talked about that whole 240k, if you want to get the entire milestone done, then you're kind of looking at like some pretty whaley stuff. You're talking about like 100% on difficulty 8 or difficulty 9, right? And that's not likely. And I've kind of color-coded this a little bit. So I think normal through 4 is fairly, I want to say, easy. So it's comparably easy in my opinion. Difficulty 5 and 6 is kind of where a lot of the more maybe top 10% of alliances are. And then difficulty 7, 8, 9, this is super hard. So I'm not touching any of this. Our goal is still the same. We're going to be doing difficulty 6 at a 100, anywhere from 60 to 100%. That's kind of our goal. So the points that I'm looking at for my alliance is going to be in the 60% category. I'm looking at difficulty 6. This is my column here. And in terms of the 8 days and 9 days, somewhere around here, right, is the kind of the points expectation that I'm looking at. Now, whether or not that this is actually going to be enough for the Glimmer Bracelet or not, we'll find out, right? And I've told my alliance that they don't need to hoard. I don't think that they need to hoard. And if it turns out that we can't get the Glimmer Bracelet because I gave them the wrong advice, then I'm going to blame Community Manager Archangel for this, because he suggested that if we're a decent alliance, we should be able to claim our rewards with no problem, okay? So, you'll have to make your own individual decision on this at the end of the day, but I think if you're in the position and you think that your alliance is like a top 10% alliance, then I think it would be safe to claim. And if for whatever reason afterwards you're not able to get the bracelet, then we can all blame Archangel for that, because I think that, you know, while his advice makes sense, if the numbers don't add up, then there's a bit of a problem there. That's why we're going to be doing an additional update after store reset tomorrow to really just kind of hammer down the points, the math, and, you know, get my blue shading on to make sure which scenario you can actually pass to get the Glimmer bracelet. I personally don't care if we don't get to the, you know, the final whale milestones at the end. You know, back in the game, they have these two at the top end where I didn't really expect to get to, but I do want to expect to get all the disco balls and the Glimmer bracelet. So if I can do that in week 2, then I'm happy. You know, I'm not too bothered if I don't get these 2 milestones, because really it is kind of a whale milestone. And I'm going to end this off by saying that I don't know what the offers are going to look like, because now they're individual offers, you know, remember, with the cards that you can buy. And now it seems like for week 2 that if you buy any of them, I don't know if they're here or not, but if you buy, yeah, like these ones, like if you buy any of these, now they're going to be Alliance contributions. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to end up being, because it's different, right? Is it going to scale differently? I have no idea. Anyways, we'll find out a lot more tomorrow at store reset, and I'll probably do an update video to make sure we're on the right track. But I just wanted to give you all a heads up about what's going on, and that's going to be the end of my video. So enjoy your dinner or wherever you are in the world, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.